Hello. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Brijesh Gadewar and I am currently in third year of diploma in computer engineering from Jil College of Engineering and Research, Nare. I belong to group number 37, including me and my other two colleagues, Chandan Chaudhary and Param Tote. Our topic name of our micro project is study of forgery or falsification crime case solved using digital forensics under the guidance of Professor Mrs. Gazreman. For better understanding about this project, we have divided this micro project in some categories. As you can see, the categories are introduction, objective, main content, need of digital forensics, case study, and its benefits. So let's start with the introduction of the project. Crime is another phase of human culture that has existed since the earliest of civilization. We create technology for solving many problems of mankind. We create technology for our next generation. When technology progresses and make our lives even more convenient, we must trace how beneficial it is to our lives. But there are some people who use this technology for their purpose, or we can say to harm the mankind. As technology increases, these people also start to upgrade or evolve their crimes too. And as a result, we see increase in crime rate. To mitigate this risk, it is necessary to harmonize digital forensics and forensic science and to strengthen knowledge management throughout the decentralized forensic ecosystem. In our project, we will see the deep knowledge of digital forensics and we will also see some criminal cases which were solved by digital forensics. Moving on, the objective of our project is to get the knowledge of digital forensics and to study forgery or falsification crime case solved using digital forensics. To get understand more about this project, we should look about some things which is necessary. First one is forensics. So what is forensics? Forensics is a collection and analysis of evidence using scientific tests or techniques to establish facts against crime. Therefore, forensic science is a scientific method to gathering and examining information about the past which is then used in court of law. Then what is digital forensics? Digital forensics is the use of scientifically derived and proven methods of the preservation, collection, validation, identification, analysis, interpretation, documentation, and presentation of digital evidence derived from digital devices. Then what is digital evidence? So when you are solving any crime case or when we come to any criminal case, evidence become very important thing because evidence is a piece of information that supports a conclusion. Then what is digital evidence? Since we are talking about digital forensics, we should have talked about digital evidence. So digital evidence is any data that is recorded or preserved on any medium in or by a computer system or other similar device that can be read or understood by a person or a computer system or other similar device. There are two types of digital evidence. First is persistent data and second is volatile data. So as we see, as each thing has its own process to work. Similarly, digital forensics has its own process. The first is identification. In this in this part, we have to identify the evidence and we should also look all perspective such as what evidence is present, where it is stored, and how it is stored. The next is presentation. The next is preservation. It means to isolate. It means to isolate, secure the state of physical and digital evidence. Next is analysis. And one more point in the preservation is to include preventing people from using the digital device or allowing other electromagnetic device to be used within an affected area. So the next is analysis. So it means determine significance, reconstruct fragments of data, and draw conclusion based on evidence found. Next is documentation. It means record all visible data must be created which helps in recreating the scene and reviewing in any time. It involves proper documentation of the crime scene along with photography, sketching, and crime scene mapping. And last process is presentation. In this, we have to summarize and provide explanation of content. So you all should be thinking, what is need of digital forensics? Why it is so important in the crime division? So the answer is to ensure the integrity of digital system, to focus on the response of high-tech offenses started to intervene the system. Digital forensics has been efficiently used to track down the terrorists from the various parts of the world, to produce evidence in the court that can lead to the punishment of the criminal. So let's start with the case study, which were solved using the digital forensics. The first case is the blackmailing with false email. This incident was happened in the state of Maharashtra in city Mumbai. So the accused posted to be a young girl living in Kolkata and lured a non-resident Indian, which is we call NRI, working in Dubai, to enter into an email correspondence. Subsequently, the accused began corresponding with the complainant using different email IDs under the guise of different female names, which made the complainant believe that he was corresponding with different girls. Having won the confidence of the complainant, the accused asked him for money and gifts. The complainant complied with the request in the hope of receiving sexual favors from the girls he was corresponding with. However, after a period of time, when these favors were not forthcoming, the complainant stopped this correspondence. The accused then resorted to blackmailing the complainant by referring to the email exchange that had taken place earlier. In addition, the accused led the complainant to believe that one of the girls had committed suicide and that the complainant was responsible for it. The accused also sent fake copies of the letters from CBI, High Court of Calcutta, New York Police, and Punjab University, etc. The complainant lived in constant fear of being arrested in connection with the suicide over a year and a half. He paid the accused a sum of rupees 12.5 million, ostensibly to bribe the officials that were supposedly investigating the suicide and to compensate the victim's family for the loss of her income. The complainant was continuously under the threat of being arrested by the police, given the huge strain upon his financial resources as well as the mental agony faced by him. The complainant himself contemplated suicide. So how this investigation goes in this case? The complainant handed over all the email correspondence to the police. Many of them had mass header and therefore the police could not investigate them any further. Moreover, there was no email that could be traced to Kolkata where the accused was staying as per the complainant's version. However, the investigating team was able to trace some of these emails to the corporate office of a large cement company and residence in Mumbai. A raid was conducted at these premises. In the raid, one computer, two laptops, 7 mobile phones, and a scanner were seized. The computer equipment that was recovered was sent to the office of the forensic examiner, who found all the evidence of emails, chatting details, etc. in the laptop and the computer. During the investigation, property worth rupees 0.9 million was seized, along with the cash rupees 0.3 million. The total flow of the extorted money was traced from the bank in Dubai to the account of the accused person. So the current status of this case is charge sheet is submitted in the court and the matter is sub judice. The criminals were punished because they broke the laws of section IPC section 292, 389, 420, 465, 467, 468, 469, 471, and 474. So the next case is hosting options profile. This incident was happened in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. The complainant stated that some unknown person had created an email ID using her name and had used this ID to post messages on 5 web pages describing her as a call girl along with her contact numbers. As a result, she started receiving a lot of offending calls from men. So how this investigation goes? After the complainant heard about the web pages with her contact details, she created a username to access and view these pages. Using the same login detail, the investigating team accused the web pages where these profiles were uploaded. The message had been posted on 5 groups, one of which was a public group. The investigating team obtained the access logs of the public group and the message to identify the IP addresses used to post the message. 2 IP addresses were identified. The first ISP was identified with the help of publicly available internet site. A request was made to the ISPs to provide the details of the computer with the IP addresses at the time the messages were posted. They provided the names and address of two cyber cafes located in Mumbai to the police. Investigating team then scrutinized the registers maintained by the cyber cafes and found that in one case the complainant's name had been signed into the register. The team also cross-examined the complainant in great detail. During one of the meetings, she revealed that she had refused a former colleague mate who made proposed marriage. In view of the above, the former college mate became the prime suspect. Using this information, the investigating team, with the help of Mumbai police, arrested the suspect and seized a mobile phone from him. After the forensic examination of the SIM card and the laptop and the phone, it was observed that phone had the complainant's telephone number that was posted on the internet. The owner of the cyber cafes also identified the suspect as the one of who had visited the cyber cafes. Based on the facts available with the police and the subsequent interrogation, the suspect confessed to the crime. So the current status of this case is the suspect was convicted to the crime and sentenced to 2 years of imprisonment as well as a fine because it breaks the IPC section 66 of Information Technology Act 2469 and 509. So the next case is of fake travel agent. The accused in this case was posing to be a genuine railway ticket agent and had been purchasing tickets online by using stolen credit card of non-residents. The accused created a fraudulent electronic record or profiles, which he used to carry and out the transaction. The tickets so purchased were sold for cash to other passengers. Such events occurred for a period of about 4 months. The online ticket booking service provider took notice of this and lodged a complaint with the cybercrime investigation cell. So how this investigation goes? The service provider gave the IP addresses which were used for the fraudulent online bookings to investigating team. IP addresses were traced to cyber cafes in two locations. The investigating teams visited the cyber cafes but was not able to get the desired logs as they were not maintained by the cyber cafes owners. The investigating team was able to shortlist the person present at cyber cafes when the bookings were made. The respective owners of the cyber cafes were able to identify two persons who would regularly book railway tickets. The investigating team then examined the passengers who had traveled on this ticket. They stated that they had received the tickets from the accused and identified the delivery boy who delivered the tickets to them. On the basis of this evidence, the investigating team arrested two persons who were identified in the identification parade. So the current status of this case is the charge sheet has been submitted in the court because the criminals had breached the IPC sections of 420, 465, 467, 468, 47, 30, and the 34. So we see the many cases of the digital forensics. But what is the main benefit of the digital forensics? So digital forensics help to protect from and solve cases involving the theft of intellectual property, financial fraud, hacker system penetration, and disturbance and execution of virus and worms. So that's all about our project. So thank you for your attention.